I'm not going to talk about the past. I'm not interested. We're going to just go forwards, talk about your life now in America and LA, and where you're going to go and where you think this whole movement is going. Fine with you?
Right, okay.
How long have you been out in Los Angeles now?
Well, I've been living there 9 years.
Okay. And your sort of main inspiration going there at the time was the film and entertainment world?
Yeah, I got offered to score a movie called Swordfish, and it was an opportunity that I really wanted to take. I mean, I was a fan of film, and my father was a really big fan of film, and I got into it through my dad. So it was an opportunity that kind of came my way, and I thought this was the kind of next step for me. So I went, and I've ended up staying there.
And I've heard before you talk about how surprised you were at what scoring music for movies was, how hard it was, and the compromises that you had to go through. Looking back on it now, sort of 9 years on, tell us a bit about that and those experiences. And
it's a different kind of process to being in the studio making music for yourself. It's more of a team. You sit with the director, you sit with the producer, you sit there with sometimes a bunch of people from the studio, meaning the film studio, and they all have a moment where they all want to turn around and say something, and in terms of music they don't really know what they're talking about, but it's a process, a long, hard process that you really have to get your head around and realise that it's much more of a team rather than you as an individual.
And are you still very much wanting to be in that space, or have you kind of moved on from it already?
I enjoy it, very much enjoy it, but I've been fortunate enough to get these opportunities where I want to get more into producing film and working with writers and writing film. And with the electronic scene becoming as popular as it is, as you guys know, I'm sure, in America, now Hollywood wants to do films in terms of based on our scene. So it's good in some respects that you can take a step and grow, and I will start getting into producing film. That's where I want to end up.
And talk about, I mean, we talk about the entertainment industry. One thing I've noticed with you always really has been that you've always been far more than just being the DJ and the producer, being the artist. You've always had a business side to you and business ambitions. Tell us a bit about that side of you, because a lot of people don't really know that. Obviously the record label, of course, but...
Yeah, well, again, it goes back to my father. I signed a record by Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince called Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble back in the day, and I remixed it, signed it, and the record became a hit, and I didn't get paid. It was that total cliche that I got completely ripped off, and even when I produced the Happy Mondays, we run into financial problems there where he didn't get paid. And my dad turned around and said to me, look, it's called the record business for a reason. Go away and learn how the business works. And it was really good advice, and I did. I went away and I learned how the business works. I learned the business side of what we do, because it's not all fun and games. You work really hard, and you need to understand in anything you do in life what you're doing, and understand all sides of what you're doing, and I did, and it was good advice, because now I understand the business side of it.
Yeah, I mean, more so than most artists that I sort of engage with, you do, and you know, you've had quite a few managers over the years. Is a lot of that because you've already know half of what you need to do and where to go with it?
I've had four managers, and no, you learn from them. I mean, I work with them closely, and I think it's important that you work with the manager, and you plan out what you're trying to achieve, and go from there.
So which aspects of the business now are you sort of really inspired by? I mean, look at what's happened around you. 9 years ago when you moved to LA, this whole EDM world didn't exist to the extent that it is today. Certainly the name didn't exist.
Do you like the name?
Sorry?
Do you like the name?
I'm actually a big supporter of the name.
Yeah. Same here.
I think that this industry needs things that people outside of it can tag onto and understand and comprehend. And after 20 years, people actually had a name for American dance music.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, it's early days in America in terms of electronic music. It's commercial. You know, it will change. It's especially Las Vegas. I mean, there's a lot of DJs who have residencies there. There's a lot of DJs who are playing the same music, and times will change. It's what happened with us in England, and you've got to look at the positives. It's strange coming back home and talking to various different people, because we like as English to point out all the negative sides, but give it a chance. It's a good thing that America has caught up with the rest of the world, and it's great that they're embracing electronic music for all of us, and we can all be a part of it, and we can all do really well. So, you know, I certainly embrace it.
Where do you think you fit into it in the American landscape now, with all the young kids and Skrillex and these guys? Where does Paul Oakenfold sit today?
Well, first of all, it's you know, I mean, there's a few of us in terms of DJs, and a lot of us have been doing it for a long time, and you know, there's room for everyone. There's new DJs that come along, and we should help them, support them, and encourage them, and that's where I feel I'm moving towards. I mean, you know, I've been doing this for a while, and there's other opportunities that come your way, and I'm certainly, I took a lot of time out of DJing to focus on film and other things, and that's where my path is leading. That's where I want to go, and that's what I want to do. I mean, I don't, you know, I have my artist album coming next year. I'm on Sony. I've got to get back and DJ a lot more, which I'm doing, and I'm enjoying it. I'm certainly not enjoying the travelling. I mean, times are changing. It's hard, you know, living on a plane. But you know, in terms of what I want to do, I still enjoy doing film and still want to go in that direction, and help and support a lot of the new guys who are coming along.
But with the time you took out to do film, obviously that did have an impact on your, I guess, your brand name and your value, say, around certain parts of the world. Do you regret any of that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, and I think that there was an important part of it's very important, whatever you do in life, is to move on, to keep moving. You do not want to be standing there doing the same thing for 50 years. No way. I mean, and film is now more than ever embracing electronic music. It's difficult, it's hard to do. In our space, they want to get into it big time. I mean, as I said earlier, I'm working on 3 or 4 different projects in terms of film, from writing, producing to scoring.
So in just say in the UK, for example, where, you know, you were the biggest DJ in the UK, sort of in those glory cream years, for instance, how did that feel coming back to the UK and having to face the situation that you weren't selling out clubs and things were harder? How did you deal with that as a person and your ego and whatever else?
Well, you realise that times have changed, and it doesn't just happen to me; it happens to everyone. You know, I mean, that's part of life. You know, but I don't want to go back and be the resident club in the UK. I've done that. I've achieved that, and I want to go on and do other things in life. You know, I mean, and we all do. You know, I mean, it's not just myself. We all want to move on in life, and that's what's exciting. That's the great part of it. That's when you get these new opportunities that come our way. You know, you embrace them, mate. Just, you know, get up and do them.
So let's just go back to the EDM world. Las Vegas, really, you were certainly, that I'm aware of, the person who was really championing that place way before anybody else. How do you, tell us what's going on there now for you, and what's your feelings of how that scene has matured already?
Well, it's what Ibiza is to us, Las Vegas is to America. You know, it's the hub of electronic music. As you know, around the corner there's a huge electronic event, Electric Daisy. I'm sure you're all aware of it, which is arguably the best electronic event in America. For me, I'm looking at day parties. I was a resident in Las Vegas for 3 years at the Palms Casino. It was a big club. It was every Saturday. I started off every single Saturday night, and then went from every Saturday to 3 Saturdays in a month, and then to 2 Saturdays in a month. I did it for 3 years, and now I'm at the Hard Rock, and we do Saturday afternoons. We do pool parties. We get about 5,000 kids there, and that's where it's at for me now, is pool parties, and so I think that's gonna. It already is a big deal, to be honest with you, but I think that as a resident, I want to do that, and I enjoy doing that.
I mean, you called me up recently with a bit of a gem of an idea of how the underground scene is now ready to develop out of Vegas. I mean, I was fascinated by that conversation, and is it really at that point where a kind of DC-10 could evolve? That
Absolutely.
Kind of vibe?
See, it's very commercial in America in terms of, you know, pop music is house music in America, and in Las Vegas we have a situation where there's a lot of DJs who have residencies, but there's no underground scene. There's no underground DJs playing there, and that's the next step. And America will embrace that. You know, we're going to let them get over getting into the scene, enjoying it, and next year you'll see certainly I think you're in Las Vegas, you will start to see the underground DJs starting to move into Las Vegas and start playing there. And there needs to be an after hours club. There's only one after hours club. There's no named DJ plays there, and I've always felt that's the next thing, is to do after hours, because that city is, I'm sure you all know, is 24 hours.
If you look at Ibiza's history, of which you're pretty much the man who brought it back to England from these shores, what year do you see? Where's Vegas in that trajectory? Is it kind of Ibiza in 92, 93, or is it 89? Where are we in the sort of cycle in a parallel?
Well, there are a few years in. I certainly think that it's there to stay, and there are going to be changes that will come along. But there's the great thing about Las Vegas is there's room for change, and they want it. They embrace. The great thing about Las Vegas is, in terms of the club owners, the promoters, they really know what they're doing, and they really want to embrace our culture.
And then looking at you and your life, I do want to talk about where you live, because it's the most ridiculous house I've ever seen on the planet. One of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, and I sort of have this vision of you sort of sitting on top of the world, on top of the hill in Los Angeles. But what you do with that and what you use with that, I don't know if any of you read the amazing Bob Lefsett's blog from Paul's house. Definitely worth digging out that one. But you hosted this event at your house, correct?
Yeah, I think new media, social media is important. So I hold these think tanks at my house, where I invite people from the art world, film, social media, and our music world together, 20, 30 people. We hang out, and we get to meet one another, and we talk about different ideas that can help one another. And I invited Bob up to the house.
What makes you want to do that? I mean, there's not many
I want
artists
to
doing
learn.
things like that.
I want to embrace the future. I've always wanted to do that. I think it's important to embrace change and move forward. And that's why I never ever thought I'd end up in Hollywood making music for film. Never in a million years. It happened. I got the invitation. I went there and never scored a film. And, you know, was all these different emotions were going through my mind and at the time, and can I do it? You know, why have they asked me? Then you have to embrace that, and I did.
But connecting with these sort of relationships that you have, I mean, you operate at the highest level of the music business. I know the people you engage with. What do you do with all of these relationships? I mean, where's this taking you? Because you don't see
here.
That's very flattering, but I know that's not the real answer.
No, I think I'm interested in certain things. I like to, embrace these people that I meet, the conversations that I have, and it's just part of who I am. I like to constantly be moving forward. You know, I mean, in terms of DJing, I love DJing. I've got really back into DJing, and I'm very fortunate that I can kind of come back and get into it. I mean, I took a long time off and working on films and writing music for games, and I kind of lost that spark that DJ has. And then I was like, well, now I want to try and do this. And I'm lucky that I can come back and get back into DJing because I love it.
Is there anybody from an artistic point of view, in the electronic world that you really look to and follow what they do and think hard about sort of trying to maybe not be like them but push you forwards? Is there somebody doing that, or do you feel you're the one always leading the way?
No, I certainly don't think I'm the one leading the way. No, my colleagues and certain who are friends have done incredibly well, and and I'm proud of them, and I look up to them, and like everyone, you meet certain people, and in their own world they've achieved a lot and done really well. I mean, to name a few names, David Guetta, I signed David to Perfecto in America, and I think he's done incredibly well, and he's, at the end of the day, he was doing what he was doing before he became successful. He works really hard, and I think he deserves it.
Anybody else? Any other?
Yeah, Armin van Buuren. I love what he's done. I was at Radio 1 a few weeks ago, and I was in London doing a show with Armin, and he really, apart from being a great DJ, he has this work ethic in terms of a radio setup, and his radio show is huge. And I was speaking to a couple of the guys at Radio 1, and they didn't really realise how big Armin is in terms of radio. He has a huge global reach in terms of radio, and it takes a lot of work and a big team to do what he does.
And then, appear in a different way, James Barton, which has been much documented this last
Congratulations to James. I mean, I worked with him for many years, and he, someone else who's worked very hard and done very well. And there comes a time where obviously he felt that he needed a change in his life, and he's sold the company and still working in respect of now running a department, and he'll go on to do well. He's very good at what he does.
How do you think things can change though with people like that going into huge companies with huge weight and huge power? Surely it's a good thing, but how do you think this can change things?
I think if they let him do what he's good at doing, then there won't be a problem. It's when they start trying to stop him doing what he's good at doing, then obviously there will become an issue.
And thinking about your life and what you've done, when you think of Ibiza, which was your, the big first thing that you were really known for, then taking that to the UK, then your, the legendary remixes from people like the Happy Mondays and all of the bands that you remixed and producing bands, then coming to America, one of the first people to do that. You always seem to be the man who people should look to see where the change is going. Hollywood films being the last one. Where do you think your next big move is going to be?
I think new ventures. I enjoy. I think with America, they've really got into electronic music, as we know. There's a lot of opportunities for all of us, and if you see these opportunities, my advice is take them. And I'm enjoying the trying to kickstart and be part of a community in America. It's really refreshing, being English and proud of it, living in London and starting what we started with my friends. It certainly wasn't all about me, it's always been about us. But America, I enjoy. It's a real chance to start something. That's how I saw Las Vegas, and that's how I see America. We can really brand our community, in terms of the electronic world. I mean, America has just now got into it. I mean, I've been going there many years and touring and playing, but now is the time for our community, and I enjoy that.
Do you think it's time for you to have, businesses in this space? Because, obviously the record label's always been there, but, are you looking to... you are kind of an ambassador for this music. You've always been the man that's pushed even me, people like me, you've always said, do this, push this, go for this, You've been so encouraging to so many people. Is it a time for you to kind of take stock of that?
Maybe. I think that it's really a time for, not necessarily just for myself, but for all of us to embrace it. I find it at the moment, a really exciting time. And Vegas, we have a hub. People are embracing it at all different levels, and it's good to be a part of that.
You've had a bit of personnel change lately. You changed long-term agent after a long time in both countries, both territories, if you like. What instigated those changes?
I think change is really good, and we all sometimes sit there and we're comfortable, and I didn't want to be comfortable. I decided that I wanted to get back into DJing. I decided that I wanted to spend more time in clubs, and I felt I needed a change of a new team that was really understood what I was trying to achieve and what I wanted to do in terms of DJing, and I looked at DJing in a different way, and that was the right move for me. It's been a really good move for me, actually, to just cut everyone and start again.
And do you feel like is there some goal you're trying to do with DJing? Are you trying to get back into the, not going to say the top 100, but all of that kind of stuff?
No, I enjoy it. I mean, first and foremost, I stepped out DJing in a big way because the music was boring. It all sounded the same. Trance was, it was just cheesy, and it wasn't where I was at. And I was lucky that I got an opportunity to go and do film. I was bored with DJing, and then John Askew, who runs my record label, he's great. He was a big part of the inspiration that got me back into DJing, and on the Perfecto Fluoro side, which is really cutting edge. It's really the label is set up to find young new producers and DJs that are really on the underground and cutting edge side of music, and that was inspirational for me to hear these people making this music, and it really made me want to play this music. And that was a big part of getting back into DJing and touring.
One of the things that I've always loved about you is your fun social side. Seeing you with Daniele and your sort of crew, there's nothing better than seeing Paul on tour of the restaurants and nightlives of Ibiza. You always manage to still enjoy this. I think that's very visible to everybody. But how much do you still love this culture in this world?
I love it.
Create?
I fucking love it. I was born to do this. Look, we've all flown in from somewhere, but I flew from LA, came to London, waited around for 6 hours, went to Stansted, got another flight, and we're all here for a reason. And jet lag last night, and Daniel was like, "We've got to go out," and I was like, "Man," because you're tired. And then I was like, "You know what? I'm here. Of course I've got to go out." And and then you're out, and you see friends, you see colleagues, and it's great to be back here. And, thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. I feel bad you went through so much pain to get here, but you're but on this sort of social side, I mean, tell us about your LA celebrity lifestyle and the sort of world that you operate in out there. Tell us a bit more about it.
There's not much to tell, really. I just work. I have a recording studio at home. I built a recording studio, and I've been focusing on songs. I really wanted to learn the craft of writing songs. As a DJ, I can make rhythms and have, but I felt that what I really wanted to do, we all listen we all have favourite songs from many years ago to currently, and I wanted to understand and learn that art. So I took time away from doing a lot of different things to really learn that and collaborating. I've been collaborating with a lot of great songwriters and great singers. So my next album, it's interesting because, as I said earlier, house music is pop music, and you make a record with a good song, with a great singer, and suddenly it becomes mainstream. And that's where we all are at the moment. Our genre of music is commercial.
You're one of the first guys that really went in and produced real artists from the dance world. But it was something you kind of didn't really follow up on. You did the legendary Pills and Thrills album, which was inspirational to so many of us. And I watched Happy Mondays play a few weeks ago, and they played some of the remixes of your versions, and it was incredible, But you always sort of look forwards, and I just thought you didn't follow that up and then go on and produce a sort of multi-million selling singers. Is that something you wish you'd done or still would like to do?
No, the last artist I produced was Madonna. So I was in the studio with her for...
Missed that one.
Yeah, so she's done okay.
Is there anybody you'd really love to produce and a singer like that you've always wanted to work with?
Well, I was incredibly fortunate when she asked me to produce her record. I was, it was wonderful. I was very lucky to do that. There is a collaboration in terms of people I'd like to work with. I'd love to do a collaboration with Dre. I think, I worked in that world. With my first album, I had Ice Cube on. The last album, I had Pharrell and Grandmaster Flash, which was an honour for me to work with Grandmaster Flash. But I would like to work with Dre. I think that would be very interesting.
Where's that conversation at then?
It hasn't nowhere.
Just an ambition. Over the years, I think of you two and you playing at Wembley Stadium, one of the first DJs to do things like that. You've kind of, you pretty much worked with most of them, right? In some way, whether it was a remix or DJing with them. What was it about you that put you in that position?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know why they chose me. I come from, excuse me. I come from my father was a musician, so I come from more of a band approach, I suppose. So maybe because I understood the band side of it, I ended up producing and working with these guys. Maybe that's the reason.
And then we're going to do a few questions to the floor in a minute, but just tell us, I want people to understand more about the house in LA. At the bottom of your garden, you can look down the bottom of his garden, you can see the Hollywood Bowl, and you host concert sort of parties in your back garden, correct?
Yeah, I invite people up to the house, and yeah, we watch shows.
What's the best gig you've watched from your garden?
Wow, there's been a few. The great thing about the Hollywood Bowl, I don't know if any of you guys have been there, but they have various different shows. So one night there's Pavarotti, next night there's Radiohead. So yeah, I think for me, what's more interesting is seeing shows that, and I'm very lucky to see this. To seeing shows that you'd never really go to. So shows that are not really in our genre are probably the shows that I enjoy.
We had an interview with Danny Tenaglia last night, who was at the end of the video screen, about his resignation versus retirement.
He's quit, right?
He hasn't quit at all. No, he's resigned from global touring, but he's still DJing very much.
In New York only.
Just doesn't want to travel too far out of the States, really. But it's a topic, and I just heard Francois Kevorkian talking about it in his thing that's going on next door, about this whole age thing and getting to that certain point in your career, and you've already touched on the drains of the travelling. But you know, you're looking better than you've ever looked since I've known you. Seriously, you're looking very healthy, and I don't see any signs of you slowing down.
No, I'm enjoying it. I think, you know, whatever you're doing, if you're enjoying it, then why would you want to slow down? I mean, it's a number. Society puts a number on you. Your agent says you have to stop at this age, or you have to do this or that. Well, you don't. It's up to you. It's not. So if you feel you're in a good shape and you want to do it and continue, then why not?
And what's your feeling on people like Danny, who sort of seem to have hit a bit of a...
It's a shame. I mean, he's a great DJ, and it's a shame that people around the world won't get a chance to listen to a truly great DJ. And that's one thing about DJing that personally I think is, look, originally it was the DJs and the producers weren't DJing. Now there's a lot of producers who are DJing, and they're not necessarily great DJs. Danny Tenaglia is a great fucking DJ, and if you get a chance to hear him, you should, you know. And he has a different style. His approach to DJing is different. He's not a 2-hour DJ. He's a DJ that you need to. Once you feel him, you don't listen to him. You get into the groove with him. You feel him, and he takes you on this journey. And if you can go with him on that journey, it's unique.
Who's the one sort of new person, male, female DJ that you go out and listen to and really inspires you now?
I saw Skrillex the other day. He was great. I really enjoyed what he'd done. It's a different approach to DJing, refreshing. I liked where he was going in terms of music. So I enjoyed that show. That was a good one. I mean, it's a lot of DJs come through LA, but obviously at the moment I'm doing a lot more travelling, so I haven't had a chance to go and check out other DJs. But certainly I enjoyed his show.
Okay, is there any questions from the floor for Paul?
Hi, I've got a couple of questions. How are you?
Good to see you again.
It's been a while. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. We'll start with this one, which is the obvious one. How amazing, stroke weird, is it to see the involvement and development of electronic music culture hit America from that point when, you know, we would go there or it would be not viewed as real music, and now obviously with that development of how it is there, it's everywhere. How just weird does it feel to kind of experience it?
It's a strange thing because you're right. We've been going there for a while now, and been touring, and it's always been underground. And now it's very interesting to see how commercial and mainstream it's become. But we experienced that in England when electronic music was dominating the charts and turntables were out selling guitars, and that's where they are at the moment.
So has the penny dropped?
I think it's dropped for everyone.
Has anything else dropped?
Not yet, but you're going to see it. You will see a lot of changes. I think the underground scene will start to rear its head. I mean, that's obvious. It's going to, you know, at the moment this year, there's a lot of DJs playing the same music. There is definitely a sound in America. It's very commercial, but there's a sound, and a lot of DJs are trying to jump on that sound, which is fair enough. But people will get sick of that sound, and I think next year, people who've just got into the scene will start looking
Backwards,
deeper.
back and through the history of electronic and everything else. And see where, I mean, in a way, I think you're right. There is that issue of the fact that it could actually be a positive, the way it's exploded. Yeah, sorry.
Thought you had another question.
I do. We've got a few, but anyone else?
Any more? There's one.
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Why do you think it's happening now? That's what I'm interested in, because we can figure out why it's happening. Hopefully, we can make sure it's not a flash in the pan.
What do you mean commercially?
Well, how it's just blown up in the US.
Well, I think the big change in the US was when commercially the big change in the US was when Gaga and Peas started using electronic music. And that was where the mainstream started to hear it on radio, because it was always there. People like myself were always going to America or DJing at various different clubs. But then what happened was you started to hear it on the radio, and it started. Radio was a really important part of it, and that's how it became commercial. Once radio embraced it, you was hearing it all the time, and then people started to really enjoy it. They were attending these big outdoor raves, as we'd call them, but you know, the festivals. I mean, briefly, my assistant, he's only been into electronic music for 1 year. The first time he got into it was when his girlfriend took him to EDC a year ago, and he absolutely loves it. I mean, it's refreshing to see. Once, you know what it's like, the first time you go to any of our, whether it's a club, a festival, a rave, whatever, and you're overwhelmed by it, and that's the reaction that a lot of people have now.
I would just like to ask you if how is the club scene in America? Is there still a proper club scene, or is all based on shows now?
There's a proper club scene. There's a circuit that you do as a DJ all over America. There's a big club scene.
Okay, one more question. Mark wants to go again.
There's a few more, a couple more.
You've got 30 seconds.
Okay, right. As we're here, and I know you said you didn't want to look back and do all that stuff, but we've done all the other stuff, yeah? EDM, done. Coming back here, can you tell me I remember when you came back the first time, and standing there, and what is that lasting memory that you will always remember from that first time back?
From here?
Yeah.
Being with my friends, having the best time of my life. It was amazing. You know, I mean, my friends were working here. They were workers. They were on the island, and I came and for a holiday, and it's just, you know, as cheesy as it fucking sounds, it's just a great place to come, and it gives you this special feeling. I mean, as I said earlier, I travelled a long fucking way to get here, and Daniel was like, let's go out, and I was like, man, I've got to go out. I'm so tired, but you do, because you're here.
And musically, that inspiration of what Alfredo and that moment.
Yeah, Alfredo was a big part of it for everyone, you know, along with a few other DJs. But yeah, it's just good to be back.
It's that legendary story that you were skipping through Amnesia holding hands with your friends. I want to know once and for all, were you skipping and were you holding hands?
Yes.
That's what I need
And
to.
on top of it, we were cuddling.
Glad we finally confirmed that one. Okay, well look, Paul, always great to talk to you. Thanks for making
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Thank you.